sitting with the algorithm a little bit. I'm going to find out what it is actually from a comprehensive review from the internet perspective of the media. You got the marketing, and you got relations, public relations between what all those things are. I imagine this got clear. Probably, well, maybe. We'll see. Obviously come from somewhere. Looks pretty comprehensive. Now, we're going to go ahead and just take off the basic sequence. I don't know who's out there listening, but I would give you the stone mill out here. Why? Because it's super critical. I'm not saying that they do the same job. AR-15 is AR-15. The pump case on all the parts of the vacuum crane, laid out, blindfolded backwards. Now, we don't do it timed like that for reasons. One, we don't want you to do it like that. That is not the same job. This would be the job. You're going to see a lot of sitting down or clocking in is the difference. See, that's where your feet are going to be stationed after a lot of this, if the military model isn't what the general system is going to be, right? So we're going to talk about that in the local town systems. It's a main line for what the STEM game is for National Guard, really, because STEM, National Guard, anything on the wind for Sears and Walmart's training out here is going to be absolutely critical to the causal M1, M2, right, guys? These are black body graphing problems. Inside here, this room is Stanford. It's also a Senate. It's also a design system of why you've chosen to take on this base of the information, to take it on and learn this piece of equipment. All the motors. All the motors of every saw inside of this system. Those are different notebooks. Those are good ones. You're going to use a lot of that stuff later to a condensed version of this. Speeds and feeds being super critical to some of the values that are inside of this set. Alright, and so I'd like to bring this up for just my leisure concept anyways. And again, inside here, just because I don't have every saw torn apart in Gene Gray's model tearing it down, that's the kind of IKEA schematics I need. Not only do I need those schematics, but I also need the multi-matrix of the chess game. There's a lot of different players, and there's a lot of different serviceable belt chains and systems that would go into the L brackets and down the flaming graphing calculator, right? Old Lou over there being boss. These can be values in terms of systems that are both culturally interesting and useful to how we describe what mechanics are out there. Being that this room has a lot to do with the church over here, and the pews, and the kids, and sexual fundamental failure, behavioral, IH, rational numbers in field theory, right? Where's the bunnies at? Hey, where we go? Okay, just something I want you guys to remember. Well, it's a trick you can keep in your quiver in case you need it one day. This is a different room, and this isn't about now. Now is about a standard terminal velocity of falling on a tungsten rod to the surface of the planet somewhere, right? We're trying to figure out what that number's going to be. Now, the same thing that plays off in the mill. Like I said, a lot of you guys are compromised from this perspective out here, not doing multiple jobs, but doing multiple jobs. Having different masters and systems and majors and sergeants to give you a different spectrum, which doesn't necessarily have the blending of the camo in the background. Something that could carry a salty or a standard of laws and obligations in that place that wouldn't allow it to survive or would snuff it out by any other standard. So you're going to find a lot of that was out there. You're going to find a lot of terminals, the tests, the paperwork they're running, safety standards, chemical analysis, definitely same words on an acid report, or an acid test. This, no different than Berkeley's final exam while dealing with an integral of infinity and infinity minus. What do we know those things to be here? Let's throw it in a marshmallow, especially when we get local. That's going to be over the derivative of 2021 minus bracket x, being the military and the standard. We're going to say that's over 1 plus 5. Let's make it any value inside of there. Theirs was specifically to one question that lasted 5 minutes, and there were 5 of them. Or any value ax variable in the bracket x there. Arc sign, and sign in parentheses the derivative x. That's this building. That's the output on the matrix in a specific M1, M2, M1, M2, positive, negative, hot, cold, 0, 1, universal cosmic radiation background. I'm looking, guys. What are we looking for inside here? What do we want this machine to do? What are we paying attention to? What are we hitting? Those can also be topologies and land navs of different forms and how we want to be able to play that mechanics, that system. that high H, that field theory, that system inside here. I'm sure I could let Drill Sergeant jump in here, explain to us what that is, but that's the nature of Drill Sergeant Salties and Sharps for my specific class. It could be any one of you guys in any one of the spectrums at any point in time, because it's a simpler matrix than having the spectrum of 2021 over the derivative of arcsine and sine for the values of what these play out to. Arcsine being all groups, the prior group last year that defines what the Army is or what this business is. That's what it's going to be. You know, we get this unit by timelines, it'll pump out with numbers. So there are multiple other systems. I like that system. Sometimes it's the good 5-minute break meetings that talk about what our tread counts are, what square footage we're dealing with. Sometimes that comes up on the field at the beaten tree. Just out there in the yard at Gustings. There'll be another one you catch in the Carl Sagan universe loaf inside here. You're going to need to know Carl Sagan. You're going to have to kind of look at his math out there and say, well, is the N1/2 correct enough to the Penn's rows of this thing sliding through, grafting on the graphene filter here with the pencil, the wrench. You know, sometimes it's that fall off on balance and systems inside here, the windage that makes that, you know, different topology, totally different out there from inside there, but here's the mechanics of the crankcase, right? It's happening in there, happens the same way, while the zeros and ones still field theory real easy. Well, we got some luxury. Love to hear the motivation, keeping it going. That's a job, man. It's good stuff. The difference with it and difference without it is totally graphable. You know it, you hear it, and you'll hear it, positive or negative. When you're giving too much or not enough. Hopefully you'll know those things to be lawful under the trajectory of whether those things are correct or not. The thing about that is you got to be clear. And be clear out here. This is about a lot of where that flag stands, where that gravity is. You find a lot of this out there. Good to know.